so I can see you in a new light. Take a ride up to Malibu. I just wanna sit and look at you, look at you. What would it matter if your friends knew? Who cares what other people say anyway? Oh, we can go far from here and make a new world together, babe. 'Cause if you give me...
Hey guys, Alex here, GuitarForce.com. So in today's lesson, we're going to take a look at a song called New Light by John Mayer. And this was kindly requested and supported by Clay, so big thanks goes out to him for the support. This is a pretty straightforward song, nothing too complicated. We do have two rhythm guitars going on at the same time, and also a lead playing the solo. So we're going to take a look at all of the parts in this lesson. If you're going to need the tabs and the backing track, it's going to be available at GuitarForce.com or on my Patreon page. All of the links are going to be in the description box down below. I will also post the complete playthrough of the entire song onto my other channel if YouTube allows it, and you can find the link in the description box down below as well. For the sound, I was using, as usual, the VST plugin Guitar Rig. I'm going to show you the picture of the preset right now. We're going to be in standard tuning. While you're checking out the picture of the preset, here is my low E, so you can tune up and play along with this lesson. Alright, so as always, we're going to break up this song into parts. And because we have two, sometimes even three guitars going on at the same time, it's quite a busy song in terms of different guitar parts. Even though they're simple, you know, the parts are kind of played at the same time. So we're gonna separate each of the guitar parts. First, I'm gonna start off with just introducing you to the chord progression. So when we take a section, the intro, and essentially the verse as well, the main chord progression goes like this. We have A minor for a whole bar. Then we have a D major for the whole bar. Then we have G for the whole bar. Then we have C. So the C major chord we played for 3 beats, and then we have a bass line which is going to the B. So essentially we have a C chord with the B note in the bass. But this is just for the last beat of the bar. So essentially it's the C chord for the whole bar, and in the end we have this going to the B note, and then we're back to the beginning of the chord progression. So again, A minor, D, and then we have G. You hit the chord, let it ring out for the whole bar, and there is also a keyboard lick. You don't have to play it but I just transcribed it here, and if you want to, you can also use it to play on the guitar. I'll explain it a little bit in detail a little bit later on. So, but that's the chord progression for the intro. So A minor, D, G, C, with the bass, with the B in the bass for the last beat of the bar, and then again we have A minor, D, G. And then we get into the verse. So before we get into the verse, let me explain one of the rhythm guitars that it's playing all the time, constantly throughout the entire song, and it's just this line that it's doing. So basically all it does, it goes like this. Alright, so it's a continuous line that is repeated, and so what we play here is we go on the D string, it's 5, 4, 2, open, in 8th notes, and also palm muted. So you play this line for 3 times, and then we have in the end, it's just 5th fret, 4th fret. and in between you can play like muted strings if you want to, or just sort of like a staccato, meaning little rests in between, like that, and then you start playing the line again. And this line, like I said, is going on throughout the entire song. Of course, when you get to the G chord, for example, in the intro, and you let it ring out, you don't play. And also in one other part of during the verse, I'll make a comment where you don't play it. But essentially, you just play this line. Now, another variation, I want to show you how to play this line, and it's just you know, it's just a variation. Instead of playing all of the notes on one string, you can do it like that. And I'll also explain why you would want to play it like that later on, when we are going to be combining two guitar parts in one. That would be handy to play it like that. So it would be 5-4 on the D string, and then you go to the A string 7-5, and like I said, you repeat these 4 notes. And the rest is the same, so 3 times repeating that, and then you have 5th fret, 4th fret. So that's another variation of this line. Now getting into the verse. So in the intro, like I said, we play this part. It's just one guitar, and then when you get to the G chord, you can play the G chord, or you can just stop and play nothing, because the keyboard is taking over there. But that's how it goes, the harmony. So we have the G chord, and then this keyboard lick. So here what we do is we play on a high E string 10, 12, 14, hammer on, and then you simply pull off back to the 12, back to the 10. Like that, let it ring out this note, and then we have, so grace notes played on the B string from 10 fret to 12, so it's a quick hammer on 2 times, and then you shift down 2 frets, so from 8 to 10 on the same string. Like that. So all together this lick. Like that. And then we're back to the rhythm guitar number 1, which is playing this part, or okay. Now let me explain a little bit the chord progression here. So for the first 3 times that we play, actually 2 times, we play again the same: A minor, D, G, C. In the end, again, we do this movement of, for the bass note from C to B. Then you repeat again: A minor, D, G, C. And then the 3rd time we play A minor, D, G, and then we have a B7 chord. So a B7 chord would be here, or you can play it here. So just for 1 bar, you hit it, let it ring out, and then we're back to playing the chord progression, the standard one: A minor, D, G, C, C, with the B in the bass, and you play it until the end of the verse. So that's the only different chord here. So after we played the chord progression 2 times, the 3rd time, instead of going to the C, you go to the B7. And now here you can either play, you know, like a chord, the triad, or if you are playing the rhythmical figure, you just stop there. Okay. So that's that regarding the chord progression and also rhythm guitar number 1. Alright, so moving on, we're now gonna take a look at rhythm guitar number 2, and it's starting to play. It's coming in the 2nd verse, and I'm gonna show you also a couple of variations how you can play it. So if we take from the studio version, by the way, the first rhythm guitar that is playing, this part is still plays, you know, throughout the entire song. So on the second verse and the third verse and so on, it's kind of like a played in the background. But now taking a look at the second rhythm guitar. So from the studio version, what you hear is the second verse that we play is really simple. So it goes like this. You know, and that's it. So what we have here is just a hammer-on 5 to 7 on the D string. Then you play a muted string, and then you play the note again on the 7th fret. Then we have a rest, and then you wait for the next bar, and you repeat that. Then we go and we play 2 times the same rhythmical figure, but starting from the 4th fret, hammering onto the 5th. And again the same way, like that. So it goes, alternates between these 2 licks basically. Okay, so that's very simple, very clean kind of line, very as you can see, very simple. Now we can start adding some of the variations here. So the first variation is, again, you just add a couple of muted strings before playing the phrase, the line. So it's going to be like this. So as you can see, I'm adding 2 16th notes muted string here before playing each of the phrases. Now this is very simple again, and so as the song progresses, John is adding these little variations here and there. Now during the live performance, you can see that he's constantly playing kind of like a, it's essentially it's a kind of like a funky rhythm. So you can make it as simple as you want to, or as busy as you want to. So during the live performances, like I said, you know, he's just playing these 16th notes, kind of muted strings, and then when it's needed, you know, he adds the line. Okay, so but like I said, so you start with the clean version first, like that. And then you start adding a couple of muted strings. Alright, so now I'm going to show you another variation, and which is going to combine the 2 parts if you're playing this song on just one guitar. 2 parts, I mean, of the rhythm guitar. So rhythm guitar number 1 and also rhythm guitar number 2. So it's gonna go something like that. First I'm gonna play it through, then we're gonna break it down. It goes like this. Alright, so what we have here is we are playing the first part of the rhythm guitar number 2, which is, then we have a rest, and then you add the second part of the rhythm guitar number 1, which is, so you go 5-4 on the D and then 7 on the A string, and then you add the 2 16th notes muted string. Alright, and that's a combination of the 2 guitars. So essentially it becomes, and then for the second time you add you know, the part from the first rhythm guitar, which is the 5-4 with the rest, or with the muted strings in between. And then you do the same for the second line, which is on the 4th fret, hammering on onto the 5th. Okay, and you go between, again, alternating these two riffs. So now we're combining, like I said, the first rhythm guitar part, the second part of the first rhythm guitar, and the first part of the rhythm guitar number 2. Sounds a little bit complicated, but you know, explaining it, but when you play it, it makes sense. All right, so one more time, the whole thing slowly is gonna go like this. Alright, so here is another variation of the same riff of the second rhythm guitar, which John is playing later on during the second verse, and also during the live performances he starts adding a couple of notes here and there. Again, it's very simple, but it's just slightly different, so it's gonna go like this. Okay, so here again we have the first part, this exactly the same as the first couple of variations, and then you simply add, so going 5-7, little rest, and then you add the 16th notes again, sorry, and then again, and you do the same on the second part of the riff, which is on the 4th and the 5th frets. Alright, so now you have a few variations that you can use, and you can combine them, make different combinations out of them. And also I'm going to show you yet another variation that is being played during verse 3, so we're going to jump a little bit further in the song, and we're going to leave out this rhythm guitar for now, but another variation that you play during the third verse is going to go like this. Alright, so here again the first part is exactly the same, and then we have, so you go 7-5-7. Okay, so now as you can see we're just adding one note to the previous variation, and you create a different phrase, and then in the end we have, so you hit again the muted strings, 8th note followed by 2 16th notes, and then you repeat the whole phrase again. And then you do the same moving down to the 4th fret. Okay, so as you can see, different variations. By the way, this one is played in the third verse, like I mentioned, predominantly, but again you can use all of these variations whenever you want to. And like I said, when you watch John perform this live, during live performances, he's just constantly changing the patterns, but if you stay within these, you know, changing from 5 to 7 and 4 to 5, what do you do with your right hand? You know, essentially it doesn't matter. So as long as you're changing these licks, these notes at the right time, you're going to be fine. And by the way, it's, you know, it's just a funky rhythm, so you can even create your own kind of stuff. So if you take the first part, So like I said, you can make it as busy as you want to, or you know, as simple as you want to. As long as you keep your right hand moving in 16th notes, making different rhythms and changing the notes at the right time, you're going to be fine. So that's that for the rhythm guitar number 2 during the verses. Now we're gonna move on to the bridge part. So again, we have 2 guitar parts here, and first I'm gonna play the first guitar, and then we'll take a look at the second. So the part during the bridge section is gonna go like this: guitar number 1. Alright, so here again all of the notes are being played palm muted, lightly palm muted. So we have, and also again we have the funky rhythm. So we have hammer on the A string 5 to 7, little rest, then you play 5 on D, again another rest, and then you play 5 onto the A string 7th fret, and then again 5 on D, 7 on A. And it's got this specific rhythm, so a combination of 16th notes with the rest and also the 8th notes. So slowly, if I play this part, it's gonna go like this. Okay, so this figure we played for 3 times. And then the 4th time we have, it's essentially the same thing, but we add a couple of notes in the end, so it's going to go like this. So as you can see, we add this. So you have 16th notes, it's 2 notes on the 7th fret of the A string, and then you go 5 to 7 hammer on the D string. Like that. So you add this in the end of the figure, like that. One more time. Now structure wise it goes like this. So the first 3 times we play this riff, right, 3 times, then you have once of this one, then again one more time, once we play the first part, then we play the second with this, so, and then the last 2 we play just like we did for the first, with the first riff. So the bridge part consists of 8 bars. And that's how it goes. So 3 times the first riff, then we have once second riff, then we have once first riff, then once the second riff, and then 2 times we play the first riff. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to the second guitar during the bridge section, and it's a funky rhythm being played just using 2 chords, 2 triads. The first one is going to be on the G string and B strings 7th fret, and then you have 5 on the high E. It's kind of like a D major chord, D major triad, and then the second one is G, which is 7 on G string, 8 on B, and 7 on high E. So it's just between these 2 chords, 2 triads. Now the studio version is a little bit cleaner in terms of John is just, you know, playing kind of the same pattern without expanding on it, but when he plays live he still uses these 2 triads predominantly, but he adds a little bit also in terms of the rhythm part, and also just an extension of this triad to here. So just adding the 10th fret of the high E string, like that. But It's a little bit hard to explain in terms of what you have to do. The best way, I always say, is just to listen carefully and try to get the pattern down. And as long as you are changing the triads at the right time, and what you do in between is totally fine. And that's actually what John is doing when he's playing live. I mean, he's always changing the pattern. So what we have is we play the triad, and in between the triads we add some muted strings. Okay, I'm gonna play a couple of times, just a kind of like a cleaner version of this part slowly, so you can kind of get the hang of it. So it's gonna go something like this. So as you can see, we have these two triads. We have rhythmical figure using 8th notes and 16th notes, some muted strings. Like I said, if you hit the triads at the right time, the rest doesn't really matter. So one thing I would mention, that when you start expanding on the rhythmical side of things, and by looking at John, what he was doing during live performances, he would usually play this triad like this, then he goes to the second triad, and then quickly go back to the first one, and he would mix up the muted strings with the triad again, and then kind of start the figure again. So it would be something like this. All right, and now you start making these combinations in between different rhythms and between different extensions. Now the other extension that I told you about on the second triad is this one. So he would play something like this. Alright, so he would stay actually on this triad a little bit longer, and then add with the pinky the 10th fret of the high E string, and then go back to playing, doing something like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of this second guitar part during the bridge section. I'm gonna play a few times a little bit slower so you can hear and see what's going on, and we'll be adding a few variations, and if you can pick up some of that and incorporate in your playing, that would be great. So I'll start with a little bit cleaner version, and then I'll add some rhythms, rhythmical figures and extensions later on. So it's gonna go something like this. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the last part of the lesson, which is gonna be the solo. So here again, I'm gonna explain the rhythm guitar first, and then I'll explain the lead guitar. So the rhythm guitar is following the chord progression again, the A minor, D, G, C, but it's playing a kind of just a sort of triad and inversions of the chord. Of the chords. So I'm gonna show it to you and explain. So we have the first, again, the A minor. So these three strings, the A, D and the G, and the pattern goes like this. So we start off with the D string, then we go to G. By the way, all of this is palm muted. Then back to the D string, A, and then we alternate between G and A 2 times. So it's like like that. Then we have the D power chord. So again, the same strings, and we have here similar pattern. So we start off now with the A string, and we go. So you go A, G, D, A, G, A, G, A. Then we move on to the G chord, and again it's just this triad on the same strings, and now we have 5th fret on the A, 5 on D, and 4 on G. Now here the pattern is slightly different, it goes like this. So we start off with the A string, then we go G, string, D, A, then again G, D, A, and we finish off with the G. So we have like that. Then we have an inversion of the C chord. So this is the first inversion where we have the 3rd in the bass, which is an E note, and now we have this triad. So 7 on A, and then we have 5 on D, 5 on G. And the pattern is the same as the previous that we did on the G chord. So it's like that. So A string, then you go G, D, A, G, D, A, G. Okay, so the last 2 chords, the G and the C, they have the same pattern. That's the first round of the chord progression during the solo. The second one is exactly the same for the A minor, D, and G, and then we have, so it's kind of like a scale run up, going up, just playing the quarter notes. So we have 2, 4, 6 on the D string, and then you have the 4th fret on the G string. You can play all of that on the D string, but it's just easier. I like that. Anyway, so that's the figure during the solo. I'm gonna play the whole thing slowly so you can see and hear what's going on. So it's gonna go like this. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the lead guitar, the little solo that John is playing during this part. We're going to break it up into licks and phrases. So it starts off like this. So we have 10, 12, 13 on the B string, and the first 2 notes are played staccato, meaning we have a little rest in between them. The 13th fret you add vibrato, then we have, so it's 14 on the D string, little rest, then we go to 11 on the G. Next phrase. So we have a half step bend on the 12 frets on the B string, I'm sorry. And then you bring it down, add some vibrato. Then we have 13th fret on the B, quickly going to the G string, 14th fret, 2 bends here. The second one is kind of like gradual release, and then you play 12 on the G string. So one more time, the whole thing. Then we repeat again the first part, the first 3 notes. Then we have, so it's a grace note, a quick hammer on 12 to 14 on the D string, little rest going back to the 12, and then we have G string, 14th fret, you bend it up, release, then you play 12, and then back to the 14th fret with a gradual bend again. So last part. You can add the vibrato at the end, and that's the whole solo. So all of the whole solo, all of the licks and phrases together is gonna go like this. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the entire song. After the solo we go into the third verse, and like I explained before, so we have the two rhythm guitars going on at the same time. So the first one, like I said, is always constantly playing, you know, that part, or here. And then the second rhythm guitar is just doing the different variations that I showed you from the Alright, that rhythmical figure, and again with the different variations, and basically they play these parts until the end of the song, until the song fades out, and that's how we end the song. Alright guys, so that was it for this lesson. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please give it a like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, please visit GuitarForce.com for more guitar lessons. In the meantime, I'll see you again. Take it easy, and as always, let the force be with you.